Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 92 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descended lifeforms are so amazingly primitive that two of them still think doing a podcast called Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea is a pretty neat idea. These podcasters have, or rather had, a problem, which was this. Actually, this is the solution.
Two men, two amazingly primitive men, thought this was a pretty neat idea. They were dreamers, thinkers, speculative philosophers, or as their wives would have it, idiots.
Hey, Jeff, what is this?
Well, Brian, this is going to be a regular episode about the bonuses in the back of 7 of the 9 issues of the Dirk Gently Salmon of Doubt comic.
Okay, can you say that 3 times fast?
No, I couldn't.
Oh my goodness, that's quite the complicated thing we're doing. So overall, you're saying that there were only these supplemental issue parts in 7 of the books?
Yes. Yes, okay. The other 2 did not have this supplement in the back, or backstory, or back feature, sometimes called.
Okay.
But these are giving us a little look into the TV series.
Okay.
So when you look at the first one here, it is completely red, and there is a cutout of a salmon, and then the picture is within the salmon, and it appears to be Gordon Rimmer.
Right, it does appear to be Gordon Rimmer, doesn't it?
It does. So this is kind of like a mini cover, even though it's on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Arvind and David, art by Danny Strips, and colors by Charlie Kirchhoff.
Interesting. None of the people that we have in the other comic book.
Just the writer, Arvind and David.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh, I guess they have actually... The letters were by Sean Lee, the edits by Denton J. Tipton, the publisher was Ted Adams, and the executive producer, Max Landis.
And right in the middle of this red page is the title of this section, Albatross.
Yes.
That's interesting that we would have more information about the creation of the supplement than we have about the creation of the comic book itself.
There was a page. So see this page with Gordon Rimmer here?
Mm-hmm.
With all this information?
Mm-hmm.
This page was in every issue of the Salmon of Doubt comic, but was removed from my version that I found online. As like, we don't need this. It's not part of the story. That's why they cut out all the back stuff, and they cut out this page. So they did have all of this information about the letters and everything else. They also had the 3 different covers for each issue.
And it's only like, what, 7 or 8 pages or something? This particular one?
Yes. It's kind of weird. Most of these only have 2 pages of story.
Okay.
This one is going to have 5 pages of story, and there's going to be one that has 4 pages of story. But the other 5 only have 2 pages of story. So they're not very long or very complicated. It's just kind of a introduction to the TV show.
Excellent.
So we'll go to the next page, which is going to be the Dramatis Personae.
It's funny, though. This Personae page has the background of Dirk.
Yes,
from the
it
comic
does.
book.
It does. And in this little segment, there are 3 characters listed. Gordon Rimmer, Rockstar, past and present. Men of the Machine. Men. Multiple. Kind of redundant. And Albatross. endangered. So now we'll go to the first page of the story.
Okay, so on this page, there are 5 panels. Most of them are horizontal. The last one is a vertical panel.
Mm-hmm.
In the top panel, you see what looks like a bird, presumably an albatross, in a cage, and the shadow of our friend Gordon.
And the bird goes, squawk! And Gordon is yelling, stupid bird.
The next panel is kind of a cut-in close-up of his face where you see his glasses, presumably sunglasses, and in the reflection of the glasses are the reflection of the albatross, and it's quite a kind of gory-looking close-up.
Yes. I remember him wearing very thick Coke bottle glasses.
That's
so
true.
I'm wondering if they do look like sunglasses here. So if this came out before the TV show, you would imagine these are sunglasses. Mm-hmm. But he did have thick goggle-like glasses.
You're correct.
So he's saying, my name is Gordon Rimmer. I used to be a rock star.
The next panel, you see a close-up of what looks like a work table. There are pliers on it, some kind of a contraption, and wires kind of strewn about everywhere.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of electronics.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, you may not think it to look at me now, but it's true. I am an artist, a poet. My audience loved me.
In the bottom panel on the left, we see him in a welder's mask welding away with chains dangling in the background.
Yes, nothing goes with electronics more than welding.
That's about as close as I get to soldering, right?
Yeah. He says, now they've got me here in this facility where my only art is destruction and my only audience are dumb animals. Maybe no change there.
Yeah. And in the final panel, which is sort of a more vertical panel, we see kind of the outline of the albatross in his cage, another open cage with an unlocked door, and what looks like a dog collar or something, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
And he says, Rainey says I'm more useful here. I'll show that bitch useful. So we will go to the next page.
Basically, this is a full bleed page with 5 insert panels, 4 in the bottom and 1 along the top. And the full bleed appears to be what looks like the inside of a church, maybe.
Yep.
Because there's like stained glass windows along the edge, stretching back into the distance. There are men, bald men, carrying cages of animals and milling about in the background in the first part of the upper left-hand panel.
And Gordon is saying, I have time to read these days. You want to know something funny I've noticed? I'll tell you. So many of the truly impressive figures of literature, the ones who really achieve something, are nautical men. Captain Ahab, the ancient mariner, Noah.
And then the first insert panel up on the top right shows a little closer up view of Gordon with his thick glasses. They're not sunglasses here, as you can see.
Yeah.
It's close to a stained glass scene on the water, and he's looking up out into the space.
And he says, sailors of single-minded obsession who bent the sea to their will.
Then in the bottom section, there's 4 panels. In the first one, you see Gordon's hand. He's clutching a cable and looks like he may be plugging it in.
Mm-hmm. He says, men who were prepared to go to any lengths for their ambition, to move the needle.
And then the second panel of the 4 shows a harpoon.
Yeah.
Looks like it's actually cutting some wires and other parts of splicing equipment and other types of electronic equipment.
Yes.
There's no words in that panel. So we'll move down to the bottom left panel, which shows a close-up of the albatross.
And he says, men willing to kill the albatross. And the albatross goes, squawk!
And then, of course, the final panel is a close-up on the albatross's eye, where we can see a grinning Gordon
Yes.
with some kind of device pointed at the albatross.
Looks like the harpoon is in the middle, so it
Yes, it does.
some kind of harpoon launching device or whatever.
It looks like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So on to the next page.
So once again, we're looking at a full bleed panel, but this one's reversed, where the main image is on the bottom, and there's two inserted images up towards the top on the right.
Yes.
And we see on the full bleed part of the section, we see the poor albatross who's been impaled by the harpoon.
Fuck!
So on the insert images on this page, we see Gordon having shot the device, which here clearly looks more like a crossbow.
Yes.
And yep, the crossbows were reminiscent of the ones they had in the TV show, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And he's shot the arrow into the poor albatross and is zapping away with an electric blue light.
So the harpoon is apparently connected to a wire that goes back to the crossbow.
And then on the final bottom page, we see the triumphant
Yeah.
Gordon again staring down at his victim.
And he says, "Come on in, boys. The new toy is ready for you." And we'll go to the last page of this segment.
So again, this is a full bleed page with a few inserts. This time they're on the bottom, on the right, and across the bottom. And here we see Gordon in a triumphant pose in front of a gaggle of bald men in robes. Behind him, there's a tank with a hammerhead shark, what looks like maybe a raccoon in a cage, and would that be a liger?
Yeah.
A tiger? Or a lion? I mean, it looks like a lion and a tiger, so
Yeah.
mixed together there. And our dead albatross looks like he's smoking away in another cage.
Yes. And he says, "My name is Gordon Rimmer. It is also Lux du jour. I am a rock star, now and forever. And with this crossbow, I'm going to kill a whole lot more than just that fracking albatross."
And 3 of his men are represented in individual cutouts on the right side of the panel going down.
Yeah, the first one says, "It's a new toy, Ed." And then I guess it must be Ed says, "Boss made a new toy." And then, "Yes, it is. It is a good toy."
And then across the bottom, there's a gaggle of bald men who look rather confused, all chanting away.
"It is a very good toy. It is a very good toy. It is a very good toy." They are very simple.
Mm-hmm. Very simple. With our final word on this page being
End.
You said that with such enthusiasm.
So we get to the next one. And this one is also a red page with the salmon cut out. And this time there is the close-up of a face looking right up the nose of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And all the same creators.
Right, and this one is entitled Patrick Spring and the 7 Stages.
So I'm guessing we're looking up the nose of Patrick Spring in this picture.
That would be the inference.
So the next page, we have the dramatis personae, and it is Patrick Spring, dude, adjectives. I guess those placeholders that got through.
I love it.
And the men of the machine, and again, men, multiple.
It makes me wonder about whether there was a good editor on this comic book or not.
Right.
Because the dude adjectives probably is a joke. I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it is, yes. So we'll go to the first page of the story.
Okay, so on this page, we see much more classic comic book style. The image is representing a rainy day, but it's also kind of streaked and worn like it's been around for a long time.
Yes.
And in the top left-hand corner, the first panel of the page, we see 2001 and a close-up on a face.
Yes. Not looking up the nose.
No.
And obviously, this is Patrick Spring, and he says, "My first thoughts were not of revenge."
The second panel shows him looking off in the distance. He appears to be on some kind of a bridge, or at least near a construction of some kind.
Yes. And he says, "True to the cliche, my first reaction was disbelief. The men of the machine had never been a deadly adversary. They were a drug-addled cult of morons who didn't understand what they had chanced upon, what they had stolen. Something had changed."
And in the middle section, you see him clutching a woman who's bleeding or appears to be dead.
Yes.
In the background, you see a crashed vehicle. There's a crossbow, and the lights on the vehicle are still on with smoke lifting from the hood.
Yes. He says everything had changed.
In the bottom, we see a large panel where Patrick is tinkering away at some kind of a device.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are two smaller panels where there are close-ups of that same device where he appears to be screwing in a light bulb and turning a crank.
Right. He says, "I quickly proceeded to the second stage, bargaining. After all, I'm the inventor of a time machine. Nothing is final to me, not even death. I would jump back to the moment of the attack, save Catherine, get my wife back." So we'll go to the next page.
And on this page, we have 4 panels. The first one is set across the top, where we see an image that's clearly like the introduction, looking up Patrick's nose.
Yes, yes. And he says, "That's when the pain truly hit me. The full horror."
On the second panel, we appear to be at that same scene where the vehicle is, the crossbow is, and what appears to be 10 copies of Patrick, yielding different devices in each one, where he's attempting to change the past, but in each of them, he ends up clutching his wife as she dies.
Yes. He says, "That's when I learnt that my theories of time were wrong. Certain points are fixed, unchangeable. No matter how often I tried, I was caught in a loop. The machine kept returning me moments too late. Always too late. I watched my wife die over and over and over and over again."
In the final 2 pages, you see him clutching a large hammer and hammering on some device.
Yeah.
And then you see a close-up of a large mechanized man.
Very steampunk.
It is very steampunk. And he's clutching his hammer, staring into its face.
And he says, "That's when I moved to the next stage. Anger. Anger and an unquenchable need for revenge." And once again, there's a little word down here. It says end.
That's right. Very good.
So we'll go to the next segment. And on this page, it's the same exact red cover looking up Patrick Spring's nose with all the same creators.
With the new title, Ken's Not a Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So let's see who's in this one. I bet Ken.
Indeed.
And there is Ken. Hacker. Situationally appropriate. And
and now we do know for a fact that the previous Personae page was a joke.
right. And again, the men of the machine. Men. Multiple. So the first page of the story.
Once again, we're looking at a classic comic book style for this page. 3 panels across the top, a vertical panel on the left at the bottom, and 3 panels along the bottom right-hand side.
Yes.
And in the top panel, we see a close-up of Ken with a cityscape in the background.
Yes, he says, "I've never described myself as a hero. I'm just not that good a person. I'm not necessarily a bad person either. I like to think my morality as situationally appropriate.
The next two panels on the top of the page show Ken as a young man, maybe high school age, maybe younger, in a high school setting where he's being peppered with a spitball or a piece of paper anyway, and then bumped into by guys in the hallway.
Yes. He says, like when I was a kid, I didn't necessarily protect the nerds from the bullies, but I didn't bully them myself, even though I totally could have. I think those things balance each other out. And looking at the panel in the center of this page, it looks like Mad Princess Kimberly was in his class.
It does indeed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Good observation. And in the bottom panels, on the left, the larger vertical panel shows Ken at a laptop or a PC pecking away at a keyboard. There are three men in the background. Each of them are wearing two of them are wearing a rubber mask. A third rubber mask is dangling across the hip of the third man. There's would you say that's a dog? Dog, a chicken, and a pig.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And the men are well armed.
Yes, they are. And Ken says, in my professional life, perhaps I haven't always strived to be on the side of angels, but I've never hurt anyone.
And then in the right-hand side of the bottom three panels, the first one is a panel of Ken clutching his head in regret. The second panel shows a scene in what looks like probably a bank where the gunfire has gone off.
Yes.
And in the third panel, we see Ken regretting his commitment, holding his hand out in front of him.
Yes. And he says, though there was a time when someone did get hurt.
And he's apparently looking at as I review this again in my head here, he's looking at a surveillance screen, I guess, from his perch behind the computer.
Yes, he's hacked into the bank's security camera so he can watch what's going on as his buddies rob the bank.
Right. It does appear someone gets shot.
It does. So the next page. Well, leave it to old Arvin. All right, the words are easy on this one. I want to hear some of your descriptions.
Yeah, I thought you might. Okay, well, as that preview goes, so goes this page. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inserts and a bleed in the back on the bottom.
Yep.
The top insert is a horizontal picture of Ken clutching his head, a forlorn woman in the background.
Yeah.
Not sure who she is, but she's sitting on the edge of the bed, clutching her knees.
And Ken is saying, one thing about the type of life I have, there hasn't been a lot of space in it for a woman. There was someone, and that must be the someone.
Yes, that must be the someone. The next two panels, Ken has decided to find himself a form of distraction.
Yes.
He's attending what might be referred to as a strip club.
Gentleman's club.
A gentleman's club. Yes, indeed. Where men act like gentlemen.
Exactly.
He is sitting close to the dancer, who is, let's say, backing the truck up. And
beep,
he is
beep, beep.
tossing the requisite monies at her in the first panel.
Yes. And the drawing cracks me up because it looks like Ken knows he's being watched by us. Mm-hmm. The way he's looking at us on the side of his eye.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's saying, not that I don't have needs. I have needs. Man needs.
And in the second panel of the Gentleman's Club, Ken is drinking his beer and staring up at the dancer who has lowered her shorts.
Her G-string is around her ankles.
Or her G-string is around her ankles.
And Ken is saying, let's say I prefer a situation where I know exactly what the deal is.
So in the bottom 3 panels, we see a new scene where it looks like Ken is returning to his home. Mm-hmm. And as he returns, as he opens the door, he's confronted by one of the men of the machine.
Yes.
Sitting there cross-legged in a chair with a large gun slung across his back.
Right. And Ken is saying that knowing what the deal is what got him into this.
Right. And the next panel shows a close-up of the man in the machine with his tattooed neck, his bald head, his large gun, and a fistful of dollars.
And he's telling Ken, we want you to hack a power system. If you do it good, we give you $10,000. If you do it bad, I shoot you in the head.
In the last part of this page and panel, we see one of our favorite characters.
And she wasn't in the dramatis personae.
She was not. But as, as we anticipated, this is Ken of Ken and Bart fame.
Yes.
Where now we see Bart covered in blood with what looks like a machete or maybe a short sword. I don't know.
Right.
In her hand.
And Ken is saying, say what you like about Red. He was very, very clear. I like that about him. Bart is also clear. Very clear. I like that about her, too. And in the middle of the dead guy's head is the word end. Kind of appropriate.
Right, and the dead guy appears to be the same one as the one holding the gun prior, which we're assuming his name's Red?
Red, yeah. All right, on to the next segment. And this one again is the same red panel with the cutout salmon, and this time we have a stern-looking militaristic face, we'll call, looking back at us. And all of the same creators.
And the title, Riggins, the father I never had.
Yes.
I just felt like saying colon since, I listened to that book so long.
Yeah, exactly.
All of the periods and extra quotation marks.
All right. So on this Dramatis Personae page, we get to see that there are 3 characters. Svlad Chaley, Dirk, age 6, Riggins, Colonel, obsessive, and Cochrane, General, mean. So, first page of the story.
So on this page, we find 4 panels, 3 across the top and 1 in the bottom. And in the top 3, you see a gentleman squatting on a little child's chair behind a child's table with a ball rolling at his feet.
Yes, and that must be Riggins.
Mm-hmm.
And he is saying, tell us about the cats.
In the middle panel, we see a young man clutching his arm and looking down and away.
And that's young Dirk saying, I told you about the cats so many times.
And in the final panel across the top, we see 2 gentlemen. One who's standing by the door with his arms crossed, and the other one still sitting in the chair with his fingers interlaced.
And he's kind of nodding his head toward the man behind him saying, well, now General Cochrane wants to hear about them.
And in the bottom panel, we see the whole scene, as we've described. The only thing different here is there is a close-up of Dirk, or Slad, in the final part of the panel. But what's kind of odd to me is there's a bookshelf stuffed full of teddy bears.
Yes.
I mean, a ridiculous number.
Dozen identical teddy bears.
Mm-hmm. In addition to the odd teddy bears, I do have to say that the room is painted sky blue with clouds like all over the walls and stuff. It's a little distracting, but it looks like it's designed to try to calm the young child.
Right.
And we see Riggins leaning in towards Slad.
And Colonel Riggins is saying, how did you know they were in trouble? How did you find them? And young Dirk is saying, I told you, I don't know. I wasn't looking for them. I don't even like cats. And Riggins says, yet you rescued a lot of lost cats in your neighborhood.
And in the final panel, you see a close-up of Slad.
Yep. And he is saying, it's not like I went out looking for them. I just find them without looking. Next page.
So on this page, we have 6 panels in that same room with the blue wallpaper or the blue walls and the white clouds. The first one is a close-up of the general with an angry face leaning in.
And he's saying, and you found Miss Crandall's body the same way?
In the next panel, we see Riggins leaning in towards Flad.
And then Flad says, yes. Why would I have been looking for a horrible moldy body I didn't know existed? I just find things. And then Riggins is like, okay, let's move on.
In the next panel on the page, it's kind of hard to describe, but there's the general in the background, Riggins in the foreground, holding up a card, it looks like. Mm-hmm. And on the card, there's a drawing, kind of hard to describe, with triangles and crosses on it.
Yeah, geometric shape.
Geometric shape, yep.
And he says, what is this?
And in the next panel, you see a close-up of Riggins' hand with the card out towards Slad, and Slad responds,
how should I know? And Riggins says, exactly. Not something you should know. But it is something. And Slad says, isn't everything something?
And it is funny, again, we're looking at the little feet of all the teddy bears.
Yes.
As they're poking out towards us. In the bottom 2 panels, we see again Riggins confronting Slad.
And he says, I want you to tell me what this card makes you think. And Slad says, the bulb is going to burn out.
And Riggins is in the final panel looking up at the light bulb.
And says, it looks fine to me. Next page.
Again, on this page, we have 6 panels. They're all inside the same room. In the first panel on the top left, we see Riggins leaning in with his card, the general in the background, and the back of Slad's head.
And Slad saying, I didn't say, I know what's wrong with the light. I'm not an electrician. I'm just telling you the bulb's going to burn out. And then Riggins is saying, focus. Look here. What comes into your head when you look at this?
The next panel, it's a close-up of Flad, big blue eyes.
Yeah. I just told you, the light bulb burning out.
Panel below that shows the conversations between Riggins and the general.
And the general's saying, okay, I've seen enough. And Riggins is saying, we just started. He takes time.
And then Riggins is entreating the general not to leave.
And Riggins is saying, sir, the subject is being belligerent. It's just an attitude problem. And the general is saying, Colonel, I've reviewed the files on all the subjects. So far, you haven't proven a thing.
In the second to last panel, we see just Flad getting up from the chair as the 2 men leave the room.
And he's saying, wait, I want to leave. I don't like the dark.
In the final one, you see Riggins turn back towards Slad, looking through the window, saying,
I'm disappointed in you. And the next page.
And again, on this page, we have 6 panels. The first panel, we see a hallway. The men have exited, and they're locking Slad back into his room. Mm-hmm. You see Riggins down the hall, and the colonel ignoring him, basically walking out. And then in the second panel, we see 2 gentlemen standing with their backs against the wall, protecting the inmates.
Yes.
And Riggins appears to be pleading with the general.
And he's saying, sir, Project Icarus is extremely promising. I admit his unique talent is very hard to demonstrate. And the colonel's like, the U.S. government's need for a psychic who finds lost cats is, at this time, regrettably low. And then Riggins is saying, well, let me show you Project Incubus. And Colonel says, must you give them all code names that start with I? He's like, there are already 3. Actually, we've just captured a 4th subject who we believe to be connected.
And then we are returned to Slad's room. He's staring at the light bulb up above him with his back towards the door and clutching his knees.
And he's just sniffing.
He's looking at the light bulb again in the next two panels, and in the second one, it finally burns out.
He says, I don't like the dark. Told you so.
Right. In the final panel, we see a black screen and the word end.
God, this is like, I wish this was the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next segment. And this is the same page with the red and the cutout salmon. This time we have a young militaristic person staring back at us. Same creators.
With the title, Inside Sergeant Hugo Friedkin.
Which, coincidentally, I think is the name of Arvind Ethan David's first porn movie.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
And the dramatist personae, it's just Friedkin. Corporal, overeager, underbrained.
Perfect description. So on this page, we have 6 panels again, and the bottom panel is a bleed through. The top 5 are dedicated to close-ups of our friend Friedkin's face.
Yes.
As he goes through his morning ritual.
So Friedkin says, you shave. Then, as he's plucking his eyebrows, he says, every day of your life has led you to this new and radiant moment. And while he's brushing his teeth, he's saying, he's saying, life is a highway and you are a fast, fast car. And then while he's flossing, every second that passes is an opportunity you will seize. And while he is putting in contacts or something?
I would think so. That appears to be what they are trying to represent.
Every challenge, simply another victory waiting to happen.
In the bottom panel, we see it bleeds across. There's a picture of him pulling down his shirt. And interestingly enough, there's a hair growth tonic.
Yeah.
In the foreground prominently.
Yeah. So now look at this bottom panel picture and tell me my porn movie comment was that far off.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Friedkin's pretty ripped. He might be a porn star. I don't know.
Yeah. And he says, there are no mistakes. This new opportunity at Blackwing is your chance to shine, to excel. Nothing is going to get past you. So we'll go on to the next page.
So this is an interesting page. Unlike the others, it's more like the style that we see in the other comic book part. It's kind of graphic and interconnected.
Yes.
On the full bleed part, you see a picture of Friedkin staring into a mirror with his gun, pointing down at the ground.
Mm-hmm.
On the left, in the shadow of his back leg, I guess, you see a close-up of Friedkin's face pointing at the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bottom panel, you see just his eyes staring coolly towards the distance.
And as he's looking in the mirror and talking to himself, he's saying, do I look cool? Because I want to look cool. I don't mean leather jacket cool or whatever. Stop saying whatever. The guy at the gas station said that it makes me sound stupid, and I can't sound stupid. I mean, if the guy at the gas station thinks it makes me sound, what's the president going to think? Because I'm going to meet the president. Yes, I am. In the White House. When he gives me a medal for my intraordinary valor in service. And after that, I'm going to be president. I look cool.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And that's all I have to say about that. Short little segment.
Mm-hmm.
So we will go on to the next one. And this one is the same red with the cutout. And this time it looks like we have Dirk himself staring back at us.
Mm-hmm. In the middle of the page, it says the title, His Own Worst Enemy.
Yes. And the two characters in this dramatis personae are both Dirk Gently. One is a detective, holistic. The other is a detective, also holistic. So we'll go to the first page.
Wow, this is quite the interesting page.
Yes.
There are 5 panels, and the top 3 are kind of combined in a way with, I guess they're going to be fumes or vapors flashing through all of 3 of them.
I think it's actually a triptych.
You're right, a triptych. That's excellent. And in that triptych, you see the first panel has King Kong. He is actually ascending Big Ben.
Yes.
And in the bottom of the panel, you see some melted clocks like Dali.
Mm-hmm.
And the front part of Don Quixote's horse, where Don Quixote is kind of like a skeletonized image.
Yes.
That bleeds into the second panel. In the third panel, we have a Dalek from Doctor Who, who is somehow also a windmill.
Right.
At which Don Quixote would be tilting.
Yes.
There's a spoon that's bented and tick-tocking away on the top right-hand part of that triptych panel.
And you hear, ow, my head hurts. It must be a side effect of that marijuana stuff. It's not because of the weed. Wait, who said that? Are you in my head?
And in the bottom 2 panels, we see the tick-tocking of a metronome.
Yes.
Someone lighting a candle.
And he's saying, no, I just know how you think.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
Yes.
And in the final panel, we see Dirk Gently in his yellow jacket.
He's obviously listening to the original Dirk Gently, who was saying, relax and follow the motion of the spoon. And the yellow jacket Dirk is saying, relax? What do you mean, relax? Why can't I move my arms and legs? Oh my God, you're an American serial killer, and you've chopped off my arms and legs. Go to the next page.
So on this page, it's mostly a dark scene. It's a full bleed scene. And what we see are the 2 Dirks, the one from the comic book and the yellow jacket Dirk. Yellow jacket Dirk is tied to a chair.
Yes.
And in the foreground is the metronome tick-tocking away with the spoons.
Yes.
Whooshing back and forth. And our comic book Dirk is standing with his finger at his lip as if he were Mr. Evil.
Yeah.
At least Mike Myers' version,
Right.
Mr. Evil.
And he is saying, you are getting very, very sleepy. Don't worry. I'm pretty good at this hypnosis stuff. Once you're under, we are going to have such a fascinating chat. And the yellow jacket Dirk is saying, who are you? Are you my nemesis? I always suspected I had a nemesis. Ha! Thor, I've got a nemesis too. And I bet he's not my brother. Are you my brother? Help. Help. And isn't this the same page from the comic book?
No, there was a scene with the comic book that didn't go into this detail that I know of.
And evidently, this is the last picture in this section. So now we'll go to the last of these sections. Same red cover, same salmon cutout, but this time there's an angry-looking cat.
And the title is Kitten Shark.
The one we've all been waiting for.
Of course. What else could the ultimate ending be?
And in the dramatis personae, we have bear in the woods, salmon swimming, kitten, shark.
Okay, well, that should sum it up.
First page of the story.
Oh, my goodness.
So evidently we are in the woods outside Seattle, sometime between seasons. of the year.
Right. And on this page, we have the river meandering down the front of the top of the page. And the first panel we see are salmon splashing up the river with a bear along the side. In the next panel, the bear is clutching or attempting to clutch a salmon in his mouth. In the third panel, he's got a salmon in his mouth, but he also is staring across at a creature that he's not exactly familiar with, and a question in his mind. And in the final panel, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because here I see what looks like an innocent black cat stretching his claws up into the sky.
Trying also to catch a salmon. And evidently I'm going to say that this kitten is Italian.
I guess so. Yeah, I would assume that
because
that's
he's
the
saying
answer.
Meow meow, but it's spelled like chow chow.
Yes, it's an Italian kitten. That's the answer. That was the answer I was looking for. No wonder the bear was confused.
Yeah.
What would an Italian kitten be doing somewhere outside of Seattle?
Who knows? But now everything makes sense.
Oh, of course. Yes. I've cleared up completely.
So we will go to the next page.
So in the first panel, we see our friend the bear laughing at the poor kitten across the way who thinks he is capable of catching a salmon.
And the next panel is that dejected, angry kitten who does not like being laughed at, looking over his shoulder back at the bear, dripping wet because he has fallen into the river.
In the next panel, we see our friend the kitten turning into the hammerhead shark in a blue flash of light, sizzling, crackling, roaring, whirring, going through the stream, rapidly tearing apart fish after fish after fish.
Yes. And the bear whines and runs away.
And in the final panel on this page, we see our kitten contently purring away as he's surrounded by a plethora of fish.
Yes. And that is the end of this section and the end of the whole thing.
Interesting.
There were parts of this that I really liked that I wish were explored more in the original TV series.
Right. So I guess this scene with the kitten shark must be a leftover or something because it's not in the movie, really. I guess this is where the kitten has wandered off into the woods somewhere and is lost forever.
Yes. Yeah, if you wondered what happened to the kitten shark at the end of the show, he escaped into the woods outside Seattle.
And he's a salmon farmer.
Salmon farmer. Harvester.
Absolutely. You got it. Oh my goodness, Jeff. Well, that was a fun little romp through the pages of this comic book.
Yes, it was. And it's our last romp through comic books. I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty because there might always be something I don't know about come around. But to my knowledge, this is it, folks. You won't have to
imagine what it looks like by our crazy descriptions anymore.
Right.
Of course, you can go to the YouTube page and see many of these pages as we describe them.
Yes, all of our descriptions of the comic are page by page on our YouTube channel.
Well, Jeff, now that we've completed this story, what's next?
I think we are going to jump back to the Starship Titanic, and we are going to listen to the hour-long BBC production of the Starship Titanic.
That'll be interesting, won't it?
It will, because I want to know how they're going to fit that story into an hour-long radio thing. But what they've done with And Another Thing, I've got hopes.
Yeah, that's a possibility, we're certainly going to enjoy going through that together.
Yes, absolutely. But now that we know what we're doing, I will say that this is the end. Thank you for listening to this. A new episode is released on the first Thursday of every month. Visit our website at digitalwatchesareaprettyneatidea.buzzsprout.com. While there, you can find links to all of my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy inspired t-shirt designs. You can contact us via email at digitalwatchespodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Digital Watches Are a Pretty Neat Idea. You can message us on Twitter, or should I say X, at Watches Idea, and our Instagram is Watches Idea Podcast.
This has been a Fruits for Thought production, darling. This has been a Fruits for Thought production, darling. This has been a Fruits for Thought production, darling. This has been a Fruits for Thought production, darling. This has been a Fruits for Thought production.